Herzlich willkommen zurück auf Schalke America. It's a Misery Blues Monday. I'm your host, Richard. Joining me as always, co-host Jack. How we doing, Jack?
Yeah, it's a man. I wish I didn't watch that Monday. For me, I think a lot of the folks that are probably on the live stream watching are familiar enough with some of the other allegiances that Richard and I have outside of European football. Unfortunately, I'm a Chicago Bears fan when it comes to the National Football League. The Detroit Lions hung up a 50 burger on us. So that was fun. And then meanwhile, Schalke conceding inside 5 minutes, and then 85 minutes of nothing after that. Good stuff. Lots of good sports for me this weekend, man.
Yeah, and the Packers put a whooping on my Commanders. So also I had a bad weekend too.
Yep.
So not a good weekend overall, but let's get into the rundown for tonight. We're going to talk about the match. We're going to have to talk about the match. We got a new player, and we're going to talk about how he did in this one. And then on Reddit, and I'll reference the user, but there is a tier list that he put together about now the Transfermarkt is done. How do we rate all the players from star player, important players, reserve, all that stuff? We'll see what he put out there, or what they put out there, and then we'll be making adjustments to that list. But this is going to be a misery podcast. I figured we start off with some good news, Jack. There's going to be very little of it tonight, I think. But let's start off with breaking news that was unveiled at the game is that Schalke have reached 200,000 members, and they did a nice little video at the game, and they showed us obviously on social medias afterwards. But they highlighted the 200th member, which is this woman who's I don't know her name, but she was officially the 200th member there. So nice of Schalke to do that before the onslaught began for our team. But 200,000 members. I say the biggest club in Germany, but obviously there's 3 teams now over 200,000 members in Germany, and world football I think top 6 in terms of number of members. So finally hit that mark. For a while we were just under 200,000. We finally hit that mark, which is surprising considering the state we've been in the last 5 years.
We're massive.
I mean, you said last time we're massive. Yeah, we're massive.
Hey, here's to the next 200,000. What do you say?
There you go. Hopefully in our lifetime. Hopefully in our lifetime. Oh man! But in our lifetime now is the match at hand. Look at the lineups in this one. Kiel, team that was in the Bundesliga last year. We have a couple of players on our team that used to be on Kiel, and obviously there is a former Schalke player, at least one of them on Kiel presently. I'm not going to look at bother with their lineup. Really, I want to focus on our lineup. In goal, you had Karius, of course. Back 3, you had Becker, Katic, and Sanchez. Not too earth-shattering there. In midfield, you had Vitali Becker on the left. You had Porat on the right, and Schallenberg, El Fauzi in the middle. And then you had Karaman, Gomis, and Silla, the new man, getting a start in this one. Thoughts on our lineup? How did you feel? Earth-shattering? Not so much. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, nothing too unusual. I think the only notable thing would just be Gomis right into the lineup, at the first possible opportunity, given that we're coming off of a break, so it's a little bit easier to incorporate somebody off of that as opposed to, signing him when you're 3 days before the next match or something along those lines. So, was a little bit of a window for him to, I guess, get integrated to some extent. But yeah, that was the main standout. I guess we're still just kind of monitoring what's going on exactly with the back line, kind of who the top kind of 3 choices there are going to be. Do you feel like these 3 are it? Do you think Kurchai is going to be in there? What's your vibe at the moment?
I mean, to start the season, I would have said Sanchez, especially the way he played, at least in the first game. I thought Katic and Becker for sure. I think they're more so locks than anyone on that left side. However, we saw Kurchai come in, and I thought he did pretty well for himself. It wasn't like he didn't have that game that Katic had in his first game, but he seemed like a competent ball passer and seemed solid enough defensively. And I think I'm okay with Sanchez and Kurchai rotating depending on the opponent. I could see either of them having an advantage over the other one.
So you like Kurchai on the ball a lot. So is he going to be your Kaminsky? for me.
I think
Like
he
last
is.
year and the year before.
What
Yeah,
I've seen
okay.
so far, I think he is, and I think Sanchez is more the tackler, which I kind of got that vibe in this game. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
I I mean, I don't think almost anybody on Schalke had a standout performance. I'd be struggling to name a couple, but I actually think that of the three center backs, I think Sanchez may have been the most impressive in this particular one, which once again isn't saying a ton.
Yeah,
Not saying he did amazingly, but um, yeah, I thought he was lively in this one for sure. Um, and like aggressive and physical too. But like was it because he's not the biggest presence necessarily compared to some other guys, but like he was getting into the mix and everything. And I don't know. I mean, this is what at the our end of season podcast last year, we were talking about the players that we thought were like the biggest disappointments or whatever, like the biggest signings. And the reason I said Gantenbein instead of Sanchez was just because I was like, I can't believe this is all we're going to get from this guy. Like something has to be going on behind the scenes, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens next season. Obviously, a long way to go, but this kind of performance was more in the vein of what I was hoping we'd be able to see from him. And if he can continue to play consistently, that's awesome because I like the fact that we have several options that we can rotate in, which certainly we need to when we're playing, a back three, because obviously more strained positioning. But yeah,
yeah. And I think at the moment, Vitaly Becker is pretty much a lock on that left wing side, and that right wing side is really up for debate at the moment. Porat, I think, is coming. Since he's coming, he's been okay. Gantenbeim is Gantenbeim. He has his moments where he does look like, oh, shockingly good. We saw them to hurt the match, and then sometimes he reverts back to himself. And so you never know with him. So I'm okay with Porat starting in this. There's like really no good choice,
yeah.
I guess.
I mean, here's what I would say on this. I guess my question is like, who are we playing instead of them in your mind? Like, I mean, Gantenbein on the right. I mean, like, and look, Gantenbein hasn't had universally bad performances this season. Sorry, go ahead,
Yeah,
jump in.
no, keep going. I got one. But
Yeah, Gantenbein doesn't have universally bad performances this season. But I guess what I would say is, as long as the defense is not an issue for us, so as long as like the presence of like a Porath and a Becker are not causing us to suddenly turn into a leaky defensive team, I think you almost kind of have to play them because of how lacking we've been in getting sort of possessional contributions from those positions over the last couple seasons, and especially given how dead our offenses look so far anyway. So I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like you need the people that are kind of bright in possession and on the ball that can contribute in the final third potentially. And so, if we're still only giving up like 0 to 1 goals a game with these guys in there, I don't really see any reason to change it out. But yeah, interested in your take.
I totally agree with that. I think if we do need a kick in the butt and a variation that I could see happen with the current team that we have, take Timo Becker, move them up to the wing. So it's the Beckers on the wings, and then you put Kurachai in the back with Sanchez and Katic. I assume Kurachai can play on the right side versus the left side. And I think we saw a little bit of that in the preseason. So I would be willing to try that if it got really bad. But I mean, and then talk about no goals being scored and stuff like that. But I mean, other than that, I think I'm with you. I think Porat and Gantenbeim is it, and until somebody else comes along or someone from the youth academy comes along and shows otherwise, this is what we got. And like you said, we're not giving up a terrible amount of goals at the moment. That seems to be the issue. The issue is about scoring goals. So it is what it is, right? I guess that's the best way to put it. Kurodo says, those were one of the games I wish Gantemine was playing. I was always a critic of him, but when he was solid, same with Antwi Ajay, would have been more dangerous with Christopher in there. Yeah, no, that's a fair shot, I think, by Kurodo. The highlights for this one, I think, are going to be right off the top. I think we started off the game fairly well, Jack. I think first 5 minutes, good pressure by us. It seemed like we playing with somewhat of an intent. Not many shots necessarily to say, but we had the possession. We were dictating the play, and then really out of nothing, a nothing play where the goalkeeper kind of plays it out, and
you're right. That was from a goal kick, wasn't it?
Goal kick. It was from a goal kick. It somehow just went through everybody. Quick playing. I mean, full credit to Kiel by carving us up. The high line that we played, they beat us at our own game, and they just broke us down. And the guy had a shot off, and Becker tried to make a save. Random deflection off of him. You can't blame anybody too much on that deflection. And Karius was at no man's land. He had no choice in that, no chance in that play. I think it was just a fluky goal.
Yeah, we had enough numbers back too. That's the thing that was frustrating. I think is that like, Bernardson like he picked up that ball or passed that ball when he was on like literally the midfield line, and then he just made a straight line run from there. and we just didn't track it quick enough. I think El Fauzi was in the vicinity there when that started, and then he just never made an effort to go with him, and the rest of the guys were a little bit, further up the field and didn't really come alive to the danger quick enough. But yeah, disappointing. Takes a super unfortunate deflection, not on Karius in my opinion, really, and yeah, just cheap goal to concede, like you said, off a goal kick 5 minutes into the game.
Our goalless streak of no goals in the first half has expired now at 5 games. And what I noticed immediately after the goal, not that we reacted well, it's just Kiel was in their 5-4-1, defensive formation, and it's basically like challenging Schalke, come beat us. Well, let's see who can take us on, right? It's like when you see in football when they stack the box and say, come on, quarterback, pass it over us. It's kind of what we saw there, and Schalke really had no answers for them. I know in the first half, possession-wise, I said it was 50-50. At times, it did feel like Schalke had more possession, but what do we do with it? I think we had 2 shots in the first half on target. They came in, the 30th minute, a weak volley by Musa Silla, and then 2 minutes later, another save by Silla forced the corner, and I think Gomis got in the action as well. There was like a 2-minute spurt or something. We had something in the first half, but other than that, it's like we did nothing. And it's like,
yeah, it was a weird game because I think I don't think there was a big possessional advantage for us, but I think most of the possession we had was like in their half or in their final third, and a lot of their possession was in their own half or in their final third. So I think it felt a little bit more lopsided than it was in terms of the actual like straight up percentage split. But yeah, I agree. I feel like once we get down there, we don't have any ideas, and there's far too much of Gomis, Silla, Karaman, whoever clumped up together within a 3-yard, 4-yard window in the center of the box, standing there. And I don't know what the plan of attack is supposed to be. It just seems like it's a lot of like, get some of your best players off the ball until the final moment. You know what I mean? Like they have to be involved in the buildup as much as they have to be involved in the finishing product. Like I feel like, I don't know. And I'm not saying there wasn't any of that at times, but I felt like, I don't know if you were noticing that. That could have just been me. I thought there was a lot of them clumping up centrally, not spreading out, not being active off the ball.
And I think that was a frustrating part too, because I think the way Silla, Gomis, and Karaman were implemented in this game, like you said, they kind of got in each other's way. They really didn't get their strengths weren't really evident in the way they were playing together. Because I think I could really see Schalke playing really well with Gomis and Silla on the wings as opposed to one of them in the striker position, because I think they have great pace, they have some good vision, they can get behind the defense. I don't think Karaman can be that striker, though. I mean, he can play it. I'd rather see Karaman in the middle, but then you're asking Mara Muslic to change his formation from a 3-4-2-1 to like a 3-3-2-1, or I don't know, something different than what it is right now. And I don't know that we can do that. I mean, I'm willing to try Karaman up top, maybe, but I don't know. Just in this game, at least, Silla and Gomis and Karaman together just keep getting each other's way, like you said. It didn't feel. I feel like they were trying to feel each other out. And granted, Gomis' first game, they maybe are trying to feel each other out, other than the Gladbach friendly. So maybe it's just a one-game thing, but it was super frustrating to watch. And for 85 minutes, we watched this.
No, I didn't think that Gomes was that bad overall in terms of his debut in general. Like, I mean, I think he worked really hard off the ball. I think he was a willing runner for his teammates at times when he was more on the wings as opposed to the times where he was drifting more centrally. But yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, I don't want to make any sweeping generalizations off the back of that one performance from him, but I think it's probably a positive addition. But yeah, they need time. I think part of it too is just like Silla had a couple opportunities in this game, and he's had a couple opportunities in other games. The good news I feel like is he's not just like missing wildly off target, but he doesn't seem to be really
striking through it.
It's not even that. It doesn't seem to be trying to beat the like. I almost think it's the opposite. I think he's just kind of like turning and hitting, and he's not like I don't know. So I feel like he's getting saved a lot, but it's because he's not actually trying to like pick his place to the extent that he should. I don't know.
It's like get on target.
Yes, but I still feel like that has to change over time. Like I'm not saying he's playing really well at the moment, but like even despite that, there have been moments in games where he's popped up and had shots in the box, and I think sooner rather than later, some of those are going to start sneaking in.
For sure.
Yeah. So I don't know.
And one of my comments about Gomis in the first half is like Gomis had good touches to teammates. I thought his his touching ability with Silla and Horat and I guess it's El Fauzi, it was good. I think he is a player that will be serviceable for us. I think he has smart, quick decision making when it comes to passing and vision. I think he had a good play to. I think it was in the second half where he kind of sprung Silla on a breakaway, and Silla could have done better on his finishing a couple times in this game. I thought, like you said,
He was annoyed that he didn't get the ball back from Silla on that because
yeah,
he
I didn't see
immediately
that.
took off and had the cutback option and didn't get it. But yeah,
So I mean, there's that, and I think one of the big things, at least for sure in the first half, but also in the second half, Kiel was man pressing us, and we had no answers for it. Absolutely no answers for it. And like when they were man pressing us, we just like give them the ball quickly and then lose the ball, and then they get the ball back. And this is like that's frustrating. We got to work on that. And for having 2 weeks preparation for Kiel, who not like they're lighting the despite the league on fire, this was a pretty
right. Yeah, we understand they were they were in the top division, but like they were. I mean, they're still below us on the table. They were beforehand, and even with this, yeah. I mean, this is it's frustrating for sure.
yeah. So yeah, not much really for us in the game. I think I'm with you on Sanchez in terms of one of the. It's not a bright spot, but it's like he did okay because he had some good tackles. And one play, late in the game, they had a chance to go on a breakaway, and Sanchez made a great tackle to kind of keep it from happening. I call them the Becker twins, but Vitali and Timo. I thought they weren't terrible. Vitali is obviously starting to feel the mojo on that left hand side, willing to take guys on one, gets up high, and Becker defensively he gets back there every time. He's whenever the ball gets into our box, he's always in there and usually the one breaking things up. So there's that. But I think the ultimate problem I saw from this game is the high line was way too high. We got caught out, and Kiel showed what can happen when you play a high line and you're not prepared for it defensively. And they carved us up, though wasn't many chances created by Kiel. They did still carve us up, and I thought it's because they constantly quick passes got through our high line quickly, and all of a sudden it's a numbers game going the other way, and we just have to finally quash it when it got towards our box. But that was worrisome. Any team that was more skilled in the final third probably would have tore us up in goals.
Yeah, they really utilized. I mean, like just the straight up give and go very effectively. They just did a lot of that, like play a ball to a teammate, make a run off it, get it back immediately, and like we were just slow to react to a lot of those. And like I said, a lot of those were happening basically on the back line. Sometimes we were playing higher, and because immediately after they scored the first one, within like I think a minute or so or two after that, there was a goal that they almost scored.
Yes, Carries
that ended up being offside. That was a very similar like
Yes.
one touch thing where they just blew through our back line again. So it was kind of like it's I know what you mean.
Yeah, and it was Becker again, who's the only one who's back there. I think Asynchronous says, Katic looked really slow in this game. I agree. Of the back three, I thought he was the worst one, which is not. Usually he's fairly solid, but this game he just wasn't. He was out of it. I don't know if it was too many minutes in his international friendly or international game, I should say, because he played 90 minutes in that game. So
to be fair, I think he is going to look slow next to Becker and Sanchez slightly.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
fair
I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think anyone, like we said, I don't think anyone had a standout game. I think like Karius had a couple big saves. I think Schallenberg was sort of anonymous in a good way compared to some other people. So maybe like I don't know. Yeah, outside of that, I've really struggled. I mean, like I said, I think Sanchez had a better game outside of the goal that he was involved in, obviously. But like him. I didn't think Fauzi was particularly good in this one. Decent cameo from Silla, but like Karaman's not being particularly influential in this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the good thing last year with him was at least like he would have those games where you're like, dude, where's Keenan Karaman? And then like he would just do something suddenly like the 82nd minute. You know what I mean? Like beat 4 players and score a goal out of nowhere, and you're like, great. So I don't know. We're really struggling with the goal production. I don't think anyone up top is going to look good until that starts getting fixed.
Yeah. And I know you want to try Gomes in this, and I think he was fine. I mean, overall, I'm okay with Gomes. I think he'll be a good player for us. I'd like to see Lasma more involved. I mean, I don't know if it's who you bring him in for, and Antuaje, I think, also be good for us. But Lasma is the fastest guy on our team. I think Gomes is probably right up there. But Lasma started off the season hot. You might as well ride the hot wing while he's hot until he gets cold. Then figure it out. But I think Lass is going to come in earlier. I don't know what minute he came in, but it felt like it was really late. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe just how I felt because the game was going so slow. But I don't know. We got to get more goals. Not many goals on target. I think that's a big frustrating thing is that, like, Kiel were sitting back. They're parking the bus, sure. But we got to get shots on target. And we didn't have, I think it's maybe 5 total. The numbers we saw in the stats after the game was flattering to us, I think, overall. Let me see the stats here. XG, supposedly we had an XG of 1.26, which is still nothing great, but shots 8 off target, 4 on target, and so there you go. I think 3 of them were Scylla. So
that sounds about right.
Yeah. So what are you gonna say? We lose the game.
So what we have? How many goals do we have through 5 games? 5?
7.
7?
Maybe just 5. I just saw the table. I should know these things.
I think it's 5.
5? Okay. Magdeburg has 7 goals, I think is what it is.
How many of those are like corners or pens?
Most. 4 of them are.
4 of them are?
4 of the 5 are set pieces. Off set pieces. I thought I heard that statistic in the game. I could be wrong. I thought I heard 4
we're in trouble, bud. We're in trouble, buddy. Yeah. I didn't realize it was that many. That's not good. Oh no.
It's Dominica Tedesco all over.
You were bringing that up on the last pod for a reason. I didn't realize it was that many. That's not good.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, one of the worst offenses in the league, and that offense is not even coming from open play goals. Yikes.
We have 1 goal out of normal play. There you go. So yeah, 4 to 5 are from set pieces. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, there you go. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Next game against Magdeburg. They are second to bottom of the table, but they have more goals than us. There you go. They gave up a whole bunch of goals, like 12 goals so far this season, but they scored 7. We've only scored 5, and given up 4. So we'll see how that is.
These are polar opposite teams in terms of vibes at the moment. So Magdeburg just likes to get out there and make stuff happen, and we'll see. Yeah, I feel like they've been a bogey team for us though.
They have. They have. So
high scoring affairs with them over the last couple. I think we had multiple games with like one team scored 5 goals within the past couple seasons against them. So
yeah. They at least scored 3 goals every game. It seems like. All right, before we get out of here, the transfer market is done. Obviously, we got Gomis. Ba finally was out. It seemed like a couple days after the market closed, at least in Germany, he finally made the move to a Polish club. They didn't say the amount. I think it was a free actually. So we didn't get the money we thought we were going to get from West Ham or whatever English team we thought he was going to. So he's off the books. It sucks in the regards that he did okay, I think, last year, considering we needed a guy to come in, especially when Scylla wasn't scoring the goals, and he was serviceable, but he's a low man out, especially with last month, the way he started. You got Carmen, Scylla, and now Gomis. He's obviously going to be the odd man out, I think. Also Remmert and Hoyland, too. So I guess just get him off the books. And too bad it wasn't for money, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. All
right. So let's, before we get out here, look at this tier list. So on Reddit, a user put together a tier list of the remaining Schalke players. And the name of the user is Simon_Basement. And he said this is his deadline transfer market tier list. So this is the list he put in there. And I'll read it out for people who can't see the screen. But the categories he has are from top to bottom is star players, key players, important players, potentially important players, rotation, reserve, and second team. So in star players, he has Keenan Karaman and Scylla. Key players, Karius, Becker, Timo, Schallenberg, and Katic. Important players, Kurachai, El Fauzi, Vitaly Becker, and Gomis. Potentially important players, Lasma, Ihan, Remmert, and Hoyland. Rotation, Atui Ajay, Bachmann, Sanchez, and Gantenbeim. Reserve, he's got Kalash, Donkor, Hekarin, Podlek, and Musa Chibara. And then second team, Maro Salazar, Gotriciani, Cisse, and Amin Yunus. Thoughts on this tier list?
Yes, I mean, the main thing off the top, the one glaring issue I have is there's a certain individual who's listed on the second team who needs not a star player, but a key player, and that's the GOAT himself, Gotriciani. His presence is simply key. Whether he's on the field, in the locker room, In the general Gelsenkirchen area, city limits. I think he's a key presence. So that's my first correction. But anyway,
Okay.
where do you want to start?
Let's start at the top. Star players, Karaman and Silla. You okay with those two? Would you add anyone else as a star player on the team?
Is this just like a prediction for the season, or kind of based on how things have gone so far? Or what are we doing?
Let's say, well, for the new players, it'd be prediction, but for the ones that have been there before, just where they've been, I guess, and how they've been.
Yeah, I guess that's I have no issues with Caramon still up there then, for sure. I think Karius could easily end up being a star player if he's not already. I think he's very close. I think just because we haven't seen that many games from him yet, it's fair to not put him there because of the injury last season, just as he was getting started. But I think by the end of the year, it's very possible that he'll be in the star player category. I think very much agree with Becker, just for his emotional ties to the club, his history of the club and his leadership, but also that we desperately needed those reinforcements in that position. So I agree with Becker being there. Is that Schallenberg next to him?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think he's probably been maybe our most consistent player so far this season, quietly. But would you agree with that? Maybe. I mean, he's up there, I think. So, and then is that Cottage after that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Cottage yet. I'll let you jump in here for the moment after that kind of first two rows. What do you think?
Yeah. So, Karaman for sure, star player. And I think Musa Silla, when he's on, he is our goal scorer, and so we need him to be on. And so I'm hoping he stays on like he was at the beginning of last year. And so I'm okay with those two as star players. I'm with you. I think by season's end, Karius could be a star player for us. He certainly is a key player because he's in goal. It's a big position. We need him to stay stable, and if nothing else, match his counterpart on the other side of the pitch. Timo Becker, I mean, A. Signer says that he's at the top, and I think from the point that you brought up between him and Gotriciani, I think for those two players are at the top, certainly key players. I like your shout about Gotriciani. I think they need to be around the team, both these players, Becker and Timo Becker and Gotriciani, because they just bring this energy. They won their Schalke through and through, but also something about them they bring, and they just uplifts the entire team. And so you got to have them in and around the team. Well, they don't have to necessarily be on the pitch, but they got to be around the team. So they're key, if not star, they're key players. So I'm with you on there. Cororo says last mile also put him on the GOAT tier, and Schallenberg is very important. Schallenberg, he's absolutely key, especially this season, last season and a half, if not 2 seasons. Quiet leader, but he's been doing the job, and I feel more comforted with him in there than not. Cottage,
I think his first season with our club was probably the worst season that he had. Honestly, he's been
It was for sure, and he's just grown into the team, and the fans have grown into him. Cottage and Korachai are interesting because I think consistency wise, it may be Korachai, but I think potential wise, we got a glimpse of that in the Hertha match, and Cottage is just such a big presence in the air, on both sides of the pitch. And if he can have more games like he did in that Hertha match, that's going to be huge for us. It would be a key figure for us. So
yeah, I guess for me, I'm not willing to say that yet, just based on what I've seen, because I don't think I've seen enough out of the first 5-6 games to put either of them that high. But I know what you mean in terms, especially that physicality in the opener was nice. Was nice to see. I would put I'd probably move them each down like one row, maybe. I don't know. That's just me. But no, you can do whatever you want here. I'm just providing my feedback as well as we go through it. But who's next on that important players line?
So the important line, you have Korachai, El Fauzi, Vitali Becker, Gomis, and now Cottage. I'll put Cottage back up here for now.
Dude, I'd almost swap Becker and Cottage.
Okay.
I think Becker is going to end up being huge for us. I think he's already been one of our better players this season. Once again, just the right back and the left back position. The left back was maybe a little bit more stable. I don't know. But I just feel like that's been such a trouble spot for us for so many years. We're always just wishing we had a little bit more out of that position, where it's always maybe one side's fine and the other side's a huge trouble spot. It's rare that we have that kind of balance. So anyway, I think I would move him up more.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think Vitali Becker has already won over the fans, and his play has been one of the most consistent on the team this season so far. He likes taking guys one-on-one. He's got to work on based on the last game alone, just the high line and not pressing up too high at times and leaving his teammates, out in the dry like that. But I think, yeah, absolutely, he's a key player, both from his physical attributes, but also what he brings from the fans' perspective. Very similar to a Gociani or a Becker, not on their level, obviously, but it's up there. I think him and like a last maybe the way last started this season. I think the fans have really embraced them, and I think they're certainly key players, or he's certainly a key player.
I'd probably move Lasma up and move Gomez down just because we haven't seen enough from Gomez yet. But like Lasma, even though he's like rotational, I think has made a big impact, and like we're still kind of waiting to see more potentially from him.
Yeah.
I think Antuiaje, based on his role for most of the season so far, deserves to be a little bit higher, but it depends on how you feel about him and where he's going to fit. I know we've talked about positionally him being a struggle in the system a little bit more to kind of nail down. What are your thoughts about him at the moment?
So I like the shot about Lasma for sure. I think, especially the way he started this season, he's got pace, which we don't have much of. He's got physicality, which the striker position, our strikers don't seem as strong as they should be, other than Remmert apparently. But I like Lasma's shot. Atuiaje. So
you can keep it in rotation. I'm fine with that if you want to keep.
No. I'm going to move him up.
Okay.
With Atuiaje, I think nothing jumps out the page at you like wow, he wows or anything, but he's consistent. I think he fills in he's like a box to box or can play wing. He can play. He's a utility player in a sense. He's good for us in set pieces, right? For both kicking and throw-ins. Obviously, we see them there. So, and I think it seems that he brings this calmness, and I don't want to say. It just seems like our attack seems to be more lively when he's in there at times, when he's not. And so I would almost put him as an important player because mostly for set pieces alone. And just I feel more at ease when he's there versus when he's not. And so I would put him important versus potentially important. That's me, though.
Fair. Yeah, I think beyond that, the only other comments I would have is I feel just kind of much more similar about all of our center back options.
Okay.
Then so I just wouldn't have them spread out as much. But outside of that, I think everything else I'm fine with kind of the way it is.
Yeah. The only other big thing I would change here.
Potentially important for him.
Musa Chabara, potentially important player. He's one of the best goal scorers we've had in our youth academy in a long time. He's obviously injured. When he comes back, we'll see what kind of player he is. But if he can get any kind of semblance of what he was before the injury, he could potentially be something really important for us and be the goal scorer we've been looking for. But we don't know until he comes back from his serious injury. It's a big injury that he had. And so I would put him in the potentially important players. And I think Hoyland could be, Remmert could be as well, Ihan as well. Gomes, we don't know enough about him yet, and Sanchez, he's in the mix with the defenders. You can put him wherever you want, important player or whatever. Bachmann rotation for sure, Gattenbeim as well. Reserves, yeah, and then second team. It sucks because I think last year Omin Yunus would be way up here. He would be one of the key players for us, but it just doesn't seem to fit with Mayer Musac's system. So, and Salazar, we've seen glimpses of him, and Cisse is gone. I think if there was a get out of here section would be Cisse at the moment. So
yeah, it's unfortunate.
So and a sticker says importance Kurachai, Katic, and Jimmy. All right. Oh, Timo, Karaman, Schallenberg, and Karius. Got it. Okay, cool. All right. So anyway, I thought it can be all doom and gloom for this podcast tonight, so I thought I'd throw a little bit of this in there, and shout out to that creator on Reddit for making that tier list, and those are our thoughts on that. So, all right, that's all I got from tonight, Jack. I think we've done enough considering we lost, not much to talk about. Same as we did. We talked all about it last week, so last podcast. Yeah. So, next game is Magdeburg, Saturday, early game, 7 a.m. So, at least my time.
6 a.m. Jack time.
6 a.m. Jack time. All right, Jack.
The time zones we have, Eastern Standard Time, we have Jack time, we have Mountain Time,
and we're actually a lot closer now to each other, but yet we still have that difference.
Just trying to keep us apart, Richard.
I'm telling you. All right, Jack, where can our followers find you on social media?
At JMMegan, JMMANGAN on Twitter /X.
Sex.
I had that
You
one
can follow at
locked and loaded.
I saw that. R_KHARMAN. More importantly, follow us at Schalke America all across social media. If you're watching tonight from Twitch, Kick, Facebook, YouTube, thank you. And if you haven't done so yet, subscribe. Please be much appreciated. And we've been putting out a lot more short contents as well when we can during the week. So, game's done. Busy this weekend, so I couldn't get the debrief in. I'll get in tonight maybe if I feel it, but we did enough on this podcast thing. Not much to talk about in the game. So, all right, let's get on out of here. Everyone in the chat, take care. Thank you for joining us tonight, and those listening on the podcast, thank you once again for your support. We'll catch you guys soon. Enjoy the weekend or the week, long week. Look out.